In this movie, a boy impresses his friend's mom and he has a lot of fun with her, but when his friend comes to know about it, what does he do? We will see in this movie. In the beginning of the movie, we see a man named Mark. Mark was jogging. Then suddenly a man appears in front of him. That man finishes Mark with his knife. After this, we see the time after a long time. There we see that Mark's wife, whose name was Sharon. She is very sad. Sharon was going through a very bad phase. Recently, her husband Mark died, and everyone has come to know about his affair too. Also, Sharon's business was not doing well. Then we see that Sharon goes and wake up Anthony because he had to go to school, but he didn't feel like going to school at all. Seeing him upset, Sharon asks if anyone bothers you in school, but Anthony does not give any answer to this, and he goes to school. After this, Barnes comes to meet Sharon. Barnes is a detective and he is working on Mark's murder case. He had come to tell Sharon about Mark's case. He and Sharon are childhood friends, and he also likes Sharon, but Sharon hasn't given him any chance till now. On the other hand, we see that a boy in school is troubling Anthony. Then there comes another boy named Dylan. Brent leaves after seeing Dylan. That's when Megan also comes there. Anthony used to like Megan, but he did not have the courage to talk to Megan. Then Dylan calls Megan there and introduces Anthony to her. After this, we see that everyone is in the playground. There, Brent tries to hurt Anthony, but the coach of the game kicks him out of the game. We see that Dylan helps Anthony in the games as well. After the game, when everyone reaches the dressing room, Anthony asks Dylan that why are you helping me so much? Dylan says that you have recently lost your dad, and my dad also committed suicide 2 years back. I know what it is like to lose father. That's why I am helping you. After this, when Anthony opens his locker, his clothes are not there. After this, he starts searching for his clothes. He finds his clothes in the toilet, and it's also done by Brent. After this, Anthony takes Dylan to his home. There, he introduces his mom to Dylan. Also, he says that today he has also organized a party at home. Hearing this, his mom also becomes happy. The same night, there is a party at Anthony's house. Dylan also comes there. Dylan was there looking for the washroom, but he accidentally goes to Sharon's room. Here, Dylan was looking at her family photos. Then Sharon comes there. Both start talking to each other. A few days later, Dylan comes to see one of Sharon's properties. Actually, Sharon was selling her house because she doesn't want to live in this house anymore because she misses her husband a lot in this house. Dylan tells her that his uncle wants to buy this property, after which he looks at the whole house. After this, we see that in sports, Anthony performs better than Brent. Brent gets angry seeing Anthony doing well. Brent then goes to Anthony's locker to throw his clothes, but Anthony's locker is locked when Dylan comes there. He sees Brent there and threatens him not to bother Anthony any further. On the other hand, we see that Sharon has received a mail by her ex. Sharon has received such letters earlier also, but earlier she used to ignore all these things. Sharon hides this thing from the detective as well, because she did not want him to know about her affair. When Sharon asks her secretary about these letters, then her secretary also says that she should inform Barnes here. Sharon makes excuses and she does not tell anything about it later. On the other hand, we see that Dylan motivates Anthony. He tells him to ask Megan for a date. Then Anthony asks Megan for a date and Megan agrees. Then Anthony takes Dylan's car and goes on the date, because of which Dylan has to stay at Anthony's house. Sharon and Dylan were alone in the house. Both start talking. At home, Dylan asks Sharon to tear up Mark's book. Sharon feels very relaxed after doing this. On the other hand, Anthony was quite happy on his date. Both kiss each other. When Sharon was taking a bath in her room, Dylan also goes to the bathroom, and he takes off his clothes and starts taking a bath. Sharon is unable to refuse him. Here both plays. From here, the affair of these two starts. After some time, Anthony returns home and then Dylan goes to his house, where we see Dylan's house. His house was in very bad condition. Here we come to know that the lifestyle of Dylan was all just a show-off. Here we come to know that Dylan was sending all the letters Sharon had received. That is, whatever has happened so far is no coincidence, and Dylan has become Anthony's friend because of some plan. Then we see Brent and Megan at school. Brent tells her that Dylan is hiding something. Megan ignores his words. Brent tells him that if you want, you can go to the office and see his file. Actually, Megan's mom used to work in the office, so she could easily check anyone's file. Then we see that Brent tells Dylan that he has come to know the truth about him. Dylan gets scared after hearing this. After this, Dylan makes a plan. He tells Anthony that he will have to tell a lie for him. Anthony is unable to refuse Dylan. After this, Dylan cuts his hand with a knife and tells everyone that Brent has done this because it was a serious case. That's why Detective Barnes comes there. affair. Later on, asking about this, Dylan says that it was Brant who injured me with the knife. Along with this, he also used to threaten Anthony with this knife. When Barnes asks Anthony about this, he says yes. After this, the Brant is suspended from school. Then we see Sharon asking Anthony why didn't he tell about Brant earlier. Both start arguing on this matter. Actually, what happened was that when Sharon tore Mark's book, Anthony had seen it. Anthony was beginning to feel that Sharon did not love her dad. Then Anthony angrily leaves from there. A few days later, Sharon receives a message from Dylan. He wants to see that property again. Then both go to that house. When they reach there, Dylan starts kissing her. When both were playing, someone records their video. Next day, Megan meets Anthony in school and shows him the video of the kiss, which means that it was clear that it was Megan who made the video of both of them. What happened was that Megan had come to know about Dylan's truth, and when Megan talked to Dylan, Dylan had called Megan to meet him at the same place where he and Sharon were. Then Megan tells Anthony that Dylan is lying to all of us. His studies have been completed 3 years ago. He deliberately called me to that place so that I could video record him and Sharon. After knowing all this, Anthony does not react anything. He says that this is my mom's second affair. After this, Megan asks him about the knife incident, but Anthony leaves from there without saying anything. After some time, Dylan meets Megan. He takes the video from Megan's phone in his phone. After a few days, Sharon comes to know that someone has spread the video of her kiss on social media. She gets very upset seeing this. Then Detective Barnes comes there. Barnes tells Sharon that he was fired from Mark's case because it was not moving forward. Then Sharon tells him about that video. Along with this, she also tells about those letters. So Barnes gets very angry after hearing this because Sharon had hidden all these things from him, after which he angrily leaves from there. On the other hand, Megan massages Anthony and calls him to Dylan's house. Anthony reaches there, but no one was in his house when Dylan attacks Anthony from behind. Anthony faints. Here we learn that it was Dylan who messaged Anthony from Megan's phone. Then Dylan messages Sharon from Megan's phone. He says that today Anthony will stay at my house. The same night, Sharon receives a mail from her previous affair. He calls Sharon to meet him. Before meeting, Sharon also informs Detective Barnes about this. After this, Sharon reaches that place. There she sees Dylan. Dylan tells her the whole truth. Actually, Sharon's first affair was none other than Dylan's father. When everyone came to know about this affair, Dylan's father committed suicide, and Dylan holds Sharon responsible for this, and therefore he wanted to take revenge from her. After this, Dylan further says that he had murdered her husband Mark. After this, Dylan gives Sharon a knife and asks her to commit suicide. Dylan tells him that he has kidnapped Anthony, and if she does any tricks, he will clear Anthony. But Sharon does not listen to any of his words. Sharon stabs Dylan with the knife and starts running from there when Detective Barnes reaches there. Barnes goes inside to find Dylan, but he runs away. After this, Sharon and Barnes start looking for Anthony. On the other hand, when Anthony regains consciousness, he sees that he is tied to a tree and Megan is tied nearby. Then both open themselves while helping each other. Sharon and Barnes later arrive at Dylan's house. Both go to the nearby forest to find Anthony. Suddenly, Dylan comes there and attacks Barnes from behind. Barnes becomes unconscious because of the attack. After this, Dylan takes Barnes's gun, and he goes after Sharon. Then Anthony comes there and he tries to explain to Dylan. Then suddenly Megan attacks Dylan from behind, and Sharon angrily hits Sharon a lot, due to which he faints. Sharon wanted to kill Dylan, but Anthony stops her. After which we see the time after many years. Sharon is with Barnes. Both are dating each other. Anthony has also forgiven Sharon, and this